So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you or front, so sitting next to you, you might be sitting next to Black Devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82 verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim. I walked a long journey on the short path, grafted this non-mind, this mind expands math itself. Came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you. Not a preacher, the Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. NUWABU, knocking off leeches. Peace of Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, respect and pay homage from the Nuwabian tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows. All the girls know. Just list the show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half-stepping to a greater direction. All right, give yourself an applause for being here today. I think I had the mic level too low, but now we are good. So this is the 83rd year, 17th month of Ma'at, 3rd week, 4th day, Tashun and T. Now, I just recorded this show, and for some reason, my audio program did not record my voice. So here it is again. I'm not going to give up. We're going to do it again. I tested the recording and now we're good to go. All right. Let me give you the Gregorian date. It is June 17th. I'm sorry. Yeah, June 17th, 2024. Sorry. Concentrating on too many other things. So and if you guys need to take a look, at this calendar, please go to UNNM.net. UNNM.net. All right. Now let's take a look on the Nuwabian. Coming from the word tabut means to affirm. So Nuwabian means affirmation or affirmation, however you want to pronounce it. Now let me get on the same page as you guys. Okay, now today is show 58, but I do want to go through the affirmation, and I do want to go through with the pledge, the Nathur, Bu Nathur, because it's very important that we get the language of Nuwabic today, as it is today. So this is called Nuwab Kedi Manuthbat. And then Anesut and Aneset, this means masculine and feminine. So I'm going to read the first line. I'm going to read each line, the Nuwabic first, and then the English second. Idem kabderu ashut waswo kelawo have banzun sendur kebo temta. I begin all prayers and thinking using all. Wa kum zahuba kebo at your edmi kebo temta. I am in the divine love of the all. Have at yoma emne kal Kelalimne wukum. And all divine love is in me. Waukum farugemne kebo temta. I am part of all. Have kebo temta farugedbi wukum. And the all is part of me. Waukum ashe akara kebo temta. I am one with all. Have kebo temta ashe akarakem. And the all is one with me. Kekelu karwedetu kike farugedbi kebo temta. I can succeed as part of all. Hade ruhul kike farayudebne. And fail as an individual. Kekelu kahwesetu kela feraf kahvezu kebo temta. I can accomplish all that I wish in all. Kike Hafuzum Ru'amud Kebo Timta. As long as my wish is to remain in all. Wa'akum Dulahum Ashedafi. I am never alone. Kebo Timta Haklenu Kaklenu. The all exists, I exist. Kebo Timta Ekelu Kekelu. The all can, I can. Kebo Timta Habnelu Kabnelu. The all does, I do. All right, so that's the affirmation. That's the affirmation to get you to realize the truth of you being part of all. And actually, the all needs to come off of some of these translations, but we'll get into that later. So, everything in existence, every particle, every atom, quark, what was the other one? Zeled. All of those smaller elements, less than nothing, are also part of the all. So, but let's go over to the Pledge of United Nuwabian Nation Moors. So we call this Bu Naturedi, Bu Nuwabkedi, Yahad Waloyedbi Ma'uru. Alright? And it's the same reading form as the last one. Kike Kabgemu Tahuth Manu Neteme Feraf Sefan Hade Gedash. As I stand beneath our sacred and holy flag, Kanderu It Mawila Hade Im Yakeku Kike Kanzerezu Zi Dakeru. I vow to be loyal, obedient as I watch it fly. Bu Ganu Wuedi. No, sorry. Bu Ganu Wuedi. Monub Naunet Feraf Dakferu Weloinet. To the laws of our Constitution that govern our nation, Ruhare Sabubemne, Zahmelu Tubuzyum Hem. To this cause I hold my head up high. Garuremne, Zanteru, Ruharos Hade Tahom. With pride, I pledge to protect and defend. Kalulemne Akara, Hare, Waloyemne, Wela Wemne. Kalu Hanu Fedya Hade Saru Samu Redya. All within this great nation, both family and friend, Ru Yankur Ferah Kalulemne Hagoy Heteme Mu Adu Heteme. To ensure that all has their equal rights. Ruhera Sabubemne Kazur Gedu Atnohum Atno. No, it's Atno. I'm sorry. Atnohu Memne Huerta. To this cause I will lay down my very life. Kike Kapgemu Tahu Hare Danunemne Sefanemne Hade Gedashemne. As I stand beneath this sacred and holy seal, Kanderu Itmawila I Matoe Hade Kazuf Menu Itamiwa Akara Herera. I vow to be loyal, sincere, and value integrity with zeal. Alright, now I turn my headphone volume down while I do that because I don't like to hear my voice. I like to hear it in real time here. There's a little echo. I can deal with it when I'm reading, but not when I'm reading the affirmation because it needs to be said and performed in a certain way. So that is our pledge and our let's see where I'm at here. Our pledge and our affirmation of the all. Okay, no. We want to go back because today we're reading count 2, B and C sections. So let's start off with B. All right. So count 2, section B, verse 14. If one does not know the composition and nature of what he worships, for all he knows, it may be a monster. Scientifically, religion is the interference of the dead into the lives of the living. The dead are those negative forces of nature who oppress, suppress, repress, and subsist on living substances and living beings in order to survive. 6. Ether is the power of the dead, because it is evolutionary forces that cause things to get old, die, and decay. Therefore, the prime purpose of religion is to spellbind people to do the will of the dead for survival of the dead. Religious worship increases the power of the dead and makes the dead stronger to cause more suffering and more death. And the more deaths there are, the stronger the dead get, unless the deaths are neutralized and counteracted by new cycle gases, the revolutionary cycle gases. 15. Scientifically, the Bible is the universal book of the dead. There is no one in the Bible today who is living. Everyone in it is dead, and the beings, 6 ether and ghosts, the people of that Bible we're talking about, were dead. Hence, by all means, it is the book of the dead, and those who believe in it today are dead, mentally dead. Therefore, in your mental death, which is universal ignorance, it is the preacher's job to get you ready for physical death to make the dead stronger. Without a doubt, the Bible is the eulogy of the dead, and thereby those who believe in it are worshipers of the dead. So I think 15 is a good verse because he said people who believe in the dead and believe about the Bible, which everybody in it is dead, that you're mentally dead, and mental death is called universal ignorance. Especially if you don't ask questions to your preacher. You're really mentally dead. And the preacher knows it. So 16, Jesus is 6 ether, and God is ghost, the conscious gases of death. The two are opposites of the same thing. Leviathan, the zodiac. One chief symbol of the zodiac is the cross, which comes from the words crescent and crocodile. The words cross and crescent refer to the moon, and the moon is 6 power. The moon is a dead universal body that supports the cemetery and multiplies negative forces called demons and monsters and ghouls. The word demon means dead moon and dead mind. The word monster means moon star, meaning moon actor. The word ghoul means ghost soul. The word monkey means moon key. The moon is the base of the dead, and because it is dead, it supports and magnifies death. 17. God is the dead, and this is why they say you cannot see God and live, and is also why they say you cannot see God until you die. God is ghost, the gases that the dead emanate. The 6 ether subsists on the living being, eventually destroys the living being. And when the living being dies, it becomes God, as the ghost gases evaporate into the atmosphere. Wherever you see the cross, the dead is there, either the physical dead or the mental dead or both. We see the cross on the church, and the mental dead hangs out there. We see the cross in the graveyard, and the physical dead stays there. Ethiopian culture does not support the dead, and this is why our ancestors burned dead bodies instead of burying them. Dead bodies multiply, emanate negative forces that must live on and destroy the living in order to survive. Ghosts subsist on dead bodies and get stronger and more powerful to possess people and create diseases and cause people to kill each other. Now, pause. Now, I think this is more the philosophy of NUWABU kind of playing out here, because our ancient ancestors buried bodies. We had rituals. That's why in the AEO there's a burial ritual. You know what I mean? But you're supposed to bless the bodies before they get buried in the ground and start to decompose and give off gases. So back in 1967, when this book was written, I think I think the master teacher was onto something, but didn't quite nail it on this one. But he was on his way, and this is NUWABU. But I think it was still being worked out, like a math problem you're trying to work out. You're trying to work out the arithmetic and the operation, the method of operation, try to get to the equalizer, the answer, right? So this is him, I think, working it out. Back then, because we did bury bodies, but I think when it comes to mankind bearing bodies might be different than Tallkind, which are Moors bearing bodies, because they got the rituals from us anyway as a race of people. 18. One reason mankind's civilization is so adverse, unclean, and chaotic is because in most cases he buries dead bodies instead of burning them. The word Caucasianity, civilization, and Christianity are synonymous in meaning, for all three mean the Caucasian race's degree of intelligence. Therefore, another purpose of religion is to control the mind of the captive masses by keeping them ignorant so that Caucasian, the posterity of the dead, can use them at will and exploit them for the benefit of the dead. 19. Take away from religion, especially Christianity, the doctrine of life after death, and little or nothing is left. This life after death doctrine is the doctrine of the dead. This doctrine is why the preacher is getting people ready to die, and after death the person is never able to tell anyone he or she was soundly and sadly deceived. Thereby the ignorance of it all is sealed by death forever. Wow. So if you're a Christian, you got deceived and you died, you can't come back and tell the living the truth about this preacher. But people who are awake already know. The life after death theory is a trick which only the gullible cannot see. Religion is all right for mankind, but not all right for Tallkind. For Tallkind needs universal and natural science for survival and proper well-being. If the reader wishes to learn more about religion, buy and read the booklets called Bible Interpretations and Explanations. Those Bible booklets are written by Amanubi Rahta, one of the teachers who taught a scientist who wrote and would write these booklets, the Nine Ball. Okay, here we go with count 2, part C, called Alien Education. Make sure everything is right. Okay. A person, place, or thing is alien to us Ethiopians when it is not of and for us by nature. A person, place, or thing is in the nature of whoever or whatever created it. If the Ethiopian has or is receiving education which has not been created by his or her own kind, while that person is in its right mind, that education is alien and destroys our identity and upright way of life by nature. Specifically, education is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding found in one's culture. Ethiopian education and Caucasian education are opposites. One is the way of death, and the other is the way of life. Now, that's 9 reasoning right there. If you're saying the two races or two nationalities can't get together because one has this agenda and the other has this agenda, so the Caucasian wants to program the brain of the Moor. So the Moor became a black man. Instead of a Moor, it became property, the Negro. So if the Negro ever tries to wake up and come back into his full self, the Caucasian is going to go against him in most cases. Not 100%. They're going to do it subtly. Nowadays, they're going to do it subtly. You know what I mean? So, let me show myself here. My bad, y'all. And the screen. All right. Rwanda. So, and he says Ethiopian education and Caucasian education are opposites. They bump heads. They must go in their own way. All right. So generally, education is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding found anywhere in the universe. Much of Caucasian education is false education designed to deceive the captive. All right. Remember what Malcolm said. Malcolm said, if you're hoping to get educated by your enemy, he said, you in bad shape. You in bad shape, brother and sister. Okay, 21. It was regrettable that the ignorance of Ethiopians allowed them to come to an educational confrontation with the Caucasian in the Caucasian's own educational system, because the Caucasian was sure to win. For black people had nothing to mentally challenge the Caucasian with. For example, there is nothing a Negro knows which a Caucasian somewhere does not know. And this makes a Negro a mental creation and mental prisoner of the Caucasian. Therefore, the Negro has no mental power capable of challenging his mental maker, the Caucasian teacher, successfully. Hence, defeat was inevitable. 22. However, the challenge was justified, and the cause of the challenge was clear. Ethiopians saw that their children were being pushed through the schools and learning little to nothing, and had reason to think that this negligence in education was being done intentionally by Caucasian teachers. The confrontation was very regrettable because the defeat was far-reaching and very bitter for our children, in the sense that the Caucasian now feels justified in teaching our children even less than before, so that our children will be less able to win a confrontation against their children in the future. And so our children will be less able to offer competition in all fields of endeavor against their children as time goes on. What the mentally dead, the Negro, does not understand is that Caucasians are dedicated to keeping Ethiopians as ignorant as possible, especially if the person is militant or of a disagreeable nature against Caucasians. And this is one way the Caucasian tries to assure his continuous rule by ignorance and the gullible amongst us. Now, there was a lot said in verse 22, but to sum it up, the Negro cannot challenge the Caucasian in the Caucasian's house. Now, if you bring the Caucasian over to the Moorish house, the Caucasian gonna lose. But since the dumb Negro wants to be a good slave and try to reason with his slave master, he always loses. And he don't want Moreno children to challenge Caucasian children, right? So by nature, it's his system. He wants to win the race and racism. So of course, by nature, he ain't gonna teach you as well as he teaches his own children. That's common sense though. The nigga really gotta wake up. The niggas really have to wake up. 23. We Ethiopians need our own educational system, our own knowledge to teach. An Ethiopian may have a master's or doctor of philosophy degree in Caucasian education and still be ignorant of his origin, ignorant of his real name, language, and culture in general. Ignorant of the true origin of the races, ignorant of the origin of the universe and the sun, planets, satellites thereof, and even does not know what race he is a member of. How ignorant can you be, niggas? What we must do is not challenge the quality of education which the Caucasian offers, but challenge what he offers. But again, that's in his system. Even in the historical black college, they just started teaching African studies in the 90s. What were they learning before that? What the Caucasian wants them to learn. Because Spelman, Clark, those are all names of Caucasoid men. Niggas can't get away from it. Okay, let's continue on here. What he offers is usually a lot of lies unless you're able to give true meaning to his lies. For example, the Caucasian writes that George Washington never told a lie. It is true that Washington did not tell a lie because he told many lies. It was not just one. Means one. Caucasian quality education is still stigmatic education for Ethiopians. For Ethiopians and Caucasians are opposites by nature and thereby have opposite natures and therefore should receive opposite education. What we Ethiopians must do is search nature for its laws and codes and way by which we must survive and strive, and write our own education books and necessary information for our adults and our children. All right, 24. One purpose of these booklets, known as the Nine Ball, is to set the stage and outline the facts and procedure necessary for restoration of our Ethiopian culture, our own way of life. The restoration of our culture will make us masters of our own destiny. The Caucasian race is dedicated to keeping Ethiopians mentally dependent. For mental dependency maintains physical and economic dependencies, and economic dependency presupposes alien exploitation. Never forget that the Caucasian Jew is a member of the Caucasian race, and therefore his nature and purpose are the same as that of other Caucasians. Exploitation of darker peoples through world domination, living on and suppressing darker peoples via the crude and cruel doctrine of scapegoatism. All right, now this will be the last verse before we shut the show down. 26. The way for us to really challenge the Caucasian and his educational system is by searching and finding our own education and making our own history again. Negro history is slave history, like that June 19th crap, right? The Texas slaves didn't, or captives, didn't realize they were free by the Emancipation Proclamation. They didn't find out till 2 years later. So now they're so-called free, but are they really free? And 180 years or some odd years later, all they can celebrate is slavery? That's some social engineering by the Caucasoid there. Right. And it's to embarrass niggas. It's to embarrass your culture, to embarrass your nine-ether ancestors. It's embarrassing. You couldn't find nothing else to celebrate, nigga? Besides slavery again? See, this is the difference between Nuwabians and blacks. Nuwabians don't celebrate history. We know that throughout history, and multiple times we were probably enslaved. You know, but we freed ourselves in this day and time. Inshallah. But the niggas down in Texas have not, apparently. So our Texas brothers and sisters need a brain. They need something to hold on to except the white man's nuts. Okay, let's keep going. We need to make Ethiopian history, and we can do this by regaining Ethiopian culture by nature. We Ethiopian scientists will open the door to this liberation of the mind. The best quality education that Ethiopians can receive is Ethiopian education, which is based on the origin of everything, nature of, purpose of, and development of. Now, we just need our own education, science, math, physical education, spiritual, you know, because our schools won't just have this robotic learning like a Caucasoid. No, we don't educate our children the same way. Okay. Ethiopian education follows the dictates of the laws and codes and way of nature in which we were grown and by which we must exist. This real education is called knowledge. It is a miserable state of condition where Ethiopians, originators of the universes, degrade themselves, arguing with Caucasians because they are not receiving more Caucasian misleading education. This is like saying you would like to be a better slave or captain. Why do, brothers and sisters? Why do? So I hope through this reading that we can start to understand the low state that we're in, especially for black folks. Because you can earn learn all the Caucasian education. You could earn $1 billion. You trying to be and act just like them, they gonna look at you, you just a nigga. You just a nigga, boy. You a nigga, boy. You trying to be like us. You had to be like us to make the money. You couldn't be like yourself, right? So we're gonna end the show right there. Thank you for joining the Right Knowledge Radio show today. We really appreciate it. We need to get our hearts pumping for this, because if you look back in the past, there's really nothing that compares to NUWABU. There's nothing really compared. Now, there's been a lot of help in the past couple hundred years in Turtle Island, as far as Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Dr. Malachi Z. York, you know. But in this day and time, there's nobody. I see the Moors, the American Moors, those who deal with the Moor Science Temple or the spin-off groups, those followers of Noble Drew Ali, they frustrated. You know, a brother held up a freeway, I think, a couple of years back in Massachusetts, and he was just sick of the temple, not doing nothing. And I have to agree with. I don't agree with what he did. That was stupid. Yeah, he ain't no leader, but what he did was stupid. But his plite, which is plight, Old English is plite. So his plite was correct, that the temple ain't doing nothing. That is in there reading books and talking. Talking only goes so far. They don't even play a part in politics or business. Like how Noble Drew Ali had business. They're not even doing that. So, you know, and I really don't see Nuwabians doing anything either. And I don't know if the Sabians, I guess they sell books and have classes in the devil's domain. They don't have any property to build buildings to have their own classes on their own land. So they ain't doing that yet. So brothers and sisters, we're gonna end the show. Wadu, thank you for joining us in this special day and time.
So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you or front, so sitting next to you, you might be sitting next to a black devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82 verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim.
I walked a long journey on the short path, grafted this non-mind, this mind expands math itself. Came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you. Not a preacher, the Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. NUWABU, knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Respect and pay homage from the Nuwabian tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows. All the girls know. Just list the show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half stepping to a greater direction.